The NFL draft is almost here, so let me throw my mock draft into the ring.
Perfect.
We are a little less than a week away from the NFL's 2022 draft, and there are a number of very interesting and very captivating prospects within this year's class. I think there are a lot of very good players in this class. However, not all players are built the same, not all situations are built the same, and a lot of your NFL career absolutely depends on where you go. So I did the best that I absolutely could, trying to account for the best positional fit, the best, by need, as well as honestly just the best overall available when making these selections. So let's just run through it 1 through 5 and then all the way down to 32 with this year's NFL mock draft. So picks number 1 through 5, starting things off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this is a very short debate on what they do here. There's been a lot of speculation what the Jaguars might do with this number 1 overall pick, but it seems like the consensus is that Aiden Hutchinson is just a can't-miss prospect at the number 1 overall position, the best edge rusher within this year's class, and possibly the best talent within this year's class. So Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end, edge rusher out of Michigan, gonna go number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 2 overall, the Detroit Lions taking Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame, a fast-moving safety that can cover the field in an instant, and honestly looks like he does everything well. Again, just the best player available for the Detroit Lions at number 2. Number 3, Houston Texans taking Treylon Burks, edge rusher out of Georgia. Georgia has produced a number of really good defensive linemen in this year's NFL draft. I think Treylon Burks is just another guy within this year's class that has a lot of potential, would really fit well into a 3-4 scheme for this Houston Texans defense that honestly the entire roster could just use players, could use playmakers in general. They could pick anybody at this position, but I think Treylon Burks might very well just be their guy, as he's done really well in the pre-draft process and a lot of teams are taking notice. Number 4, the New York Jets taking Ahmad Gardner, the cornerback out of Cincinnati, long, rangy corner that's going to help slow down some of those very dynamic wide receivers in the AFC East. The Jets and Robert Saleh are going to become a very defensive force, and getting a lockdown, shutdown corner is one huge step into making that happen. And then number 5, the New York Giants taking Ikem Ekwonu, the offensive lineman out of NC State. The New York Giants in general have needed offensive line help for the better part of the last decade, so getting an absolute monster on the interior who played tackle in college means versatility, but also adding to the protection of quarterback Daniel Jones. Number 6, the Carolina Panthers taking tackle Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. I think they're just going to look at who the best player available is, as the Carolina Panthers honestly could use help along the offensive line. This seems like a make or break year for head coach Matt Rule. I don't know how invested they are in the quarterbacks of this class, but I think Charles Cross feels like a safe pick. Number 7, the New York Giants taking the best available player in Kayvon Thibodeaux, the defensive end edge rusher out of Oregon, getting an absolute monster coming off of the edge. When the talent and the effort is there, Thibodeaux exudes NFL level play. I think Thibodeaux has a very potential bright future with the NFL and with the New York Giants, who are just looking for, another great piece to put along that defensive front. I think Thibodeaux as well as Leonard Williams would be a great tandem. Thibodeaux at number 7. Number 8, quarterback Malik Willis going to the Atlanta Falcons, the first quarterback taken off the board during this entire NFL draft process. Malik Willis was heralded highly as having an insane amount of talent. I think the Atlanta Falcons are definitely quarterback needy. Marcus Mariota feels more like a bridge guy as they train up their next quarterback, who, in my opinion, could very well be Malik Willis. Out of Liberty University, like I said, there's a lot of talent that you can see on the tape, but I think it's just going to be that nice sit year for Willis to learn how the NFL works, get up to NFL speed, and then exude that talent and show us what he's got. Number 9, the Seattle Seahawks just going to go safe with Evan Neal, the tackle out of Alabama, a nice solid piece on the offensive line. in general, as the Seattle Seahawks are just trying to build a better roster. I think Evan Neal is a safe pick, especially with Malik Willis off the board, who I'm sure they were very high on. I think Neal is just one of those can't-miss guys. Offensive line has been a huge need for the Seattle Seahawks for, well, the last decade in general, so you get yourself a nice piece along the offensive line. And wrapping up the top 10, the New York Jets taking Drake London, the wide receiver out of USC, a big body wide receiver with a lot of dynamic moves. I think Drake London is going to be a nice fit within this offense. I think trying to get quarterback Zach Wilson, a dynamic #1 wide receiver, is still kind of the mission. We saw a lot out of Elijah Moore last year, and obviously having Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios, but all signs really seem to be pointing towards the New York Jets still going after a wide receiver. I think Drake London makes a lot of sense for them as they try to find that just true star level wide receiver they've been looking for. Get a speed run a little bit for the next series of picks. Pick 11 at Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, taking Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU. Minnesota at 12, taking George Karlaftis, edge rusher out of Purdue. The Houston Texans at pick 13, Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Number 14, the Baltimore Ravens, Trent McDuffie, the cornerback out of Washington. And at pick 15, the Philadelphia Eagles taking linebacker Devin Lloyd out of Utah. And I want to touch on Lloyd for a moment. Lloyd is easily the best linebacker within this class, flies all over the field, has a nose for the football. I think he's going to succeed and play at a very high level at the NFL level. The Philadelphia Eagles as a whole just need a lot of work on the defense. They definitely need help at linebacker, and the best linebacker within this class falls right into their laps at pick 15. It feels like this one makes a lot of sense, and they get a very strong, athletic playmaker to help lead their defense moving forward. Picks 16 through 20, starting things off with the New Orleans Saints, taking Jameson Williams, the wide receiver out of Alabama. It looks like the Saints are trying to, again, improve upon that offense as they still have quarterback Jameis Winston. Michael Thomas likely to come back full healthy 100% this upcoming season. If Williams can spend some time rehabbing and getting 100% ready, I think this is not a year that the Saints need to rush him onto the field either. I think this might be one of the better situations for him to land in. Jameson Williams to the New Orleans Saints just feels like it makes a lot of sense. At number 17, the Los Angeles Chargers, shoring up that offensive line and getting Bernard Ryman, the tackle out of Central Michigan. Number 18, the Philadelphia Eagles, Devontae Wyatt, defensive interior out of Georgia, another strong pass rusher out of Georgia. Number 19, the Saints back on the board, getting their quarterback of the future in Kenny Pickett, the quarterback out of Pittsburgh, showed a lot of dynamic play ability at Pittsburgh, but also a lot of really good decision making on his way to over 4,000 yards and over 40 touchdowns in his senior season, setting himself up for success. I think New Orleans, again, just feels like it makes a lot of sense for some offensive playmaking. And then at pick number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers going with a safer pick, just taking the future tackle of the organization in Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. Picks 21 through 25, the New England Patriots starting things off with a wide receiver, Chris Olave out of Ohio State, one of the better route runners within this year's class. The Patriots have had a huge need of wide receiver for the last few years, and I think they finally make that jump once again, taking Olave at 21. At number 22, another wide receiver going to the Green Bay Packers, Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, a bigger body wide receiver, kind of flashes on the film very similar to like an A.J. Brown or even a Deebo Samuel. Big physical build that can fight for footballs. I love this pick for the Green Bay Packers. I think if they end up getting a wide receiver like Burks, their offense is going to be not necessarily what it was the last couple of seasons. Obviously, losing Devontae Adams is going to be a huge deal, but Burks could be a very nice developmental piece, and with quarterback Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, I think he has all the potential in the world. At pick 23, Jordan Davis to the Arizona Cardinals, the defensive interior out of Georgia, just adding to some strong pass rush. Number 24, the Dallas Cowboys going safe, taking Nakobe Dean, the linebacker out of Georgia as well. Probably the best player available at a position of need for this Dallas Cowboys defense. Dan Quinn will do wonders with him. And at number 25, Andrew Booth, cornerback out of Clemson, going to the Buffalo Bills, who are going to put him into an already stacked up secondary that's just going to help, again, destroy offenses within the AFC East. And then finally, picks 26 through 32 to round out the first round. Tyler Lindenbaum going to the Tennessee Titans, the center out of Iowa. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock at 27. I think they're going to go Zion Johnson, the guard out of Boston College, to shore up the offensive line. They've done really well in the draft, drafting offensive linemen, and I think Zion Johnson just shows a ton of promise. At pick number 28, Green Bay Packers back on the board. They're going to go with one of the best players available, edge rusher Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State University. At 29, the Kansas City Chiefs up for the next two picks. First pick of those two, Kair Elam, the cornerback out of Florida, as they help, shore up that defensive secondary. And then at pick 30, the Kansas City Chiefs once again going to go wide receiver Sky Moore out of Central Michigan to add to an already very interesting offense minus Tyreek Hill. At pick number 31, the Cincinnati Bengals going Keon Green, the guard out of Texas A&M, to shore up the offensive line and keep the Cincinnati Bengals team improving. And the final pick of the first round of the NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions find their quarterback of the future in Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. So thank you so much for watching the video. Of course, feel free to stick around and watch some more content. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Adios.